Everybody, welcome to the Red Web Superhero Talk Show. I'm your host, Brad West. Joining me, of course, Mr. Greg Burrow and Lou from Dragons Are Comic and Fantasy here in Austin, Texas. And then Miss Anastasia Anderson, who is going to be our fact checker, and she's going to keep us all on task. This week, we are continuing our new daily series, and this is the second part of our Back to School End of Summer Review Spectacular. We're going to talk a little bit about a bunch of little things instead of one big topic. Just to get you caught up. I think last week we did all of the Marvel stuff. And,
we did a lot of Marvel stuff, but there was way more Marvel than obviously.
Way more Marvel stuff. But then, of course, this week we're going to try and do some of the DC. And today we're going to split the CW Arrowverse.
There are so many shows.
There's so many shows. Apparently, they're talking about changing the name from Arrowverse to something else. I forget.
Because Arrow's no longer around.
Yeah, because Arrow's no longer around.
Oh, good. That makes more sense. Because I was like, there's a lot less Green Arrow going around.
Yeah, there's no Green Arrow going around. And so some people call it the Berlanti-verse because Greg Berlanti is the main producer of the majority of the shows. But I think he's
But that's
leaving.
not as sexy.
That's not as sexy.
He's leaving.
He's leaving. Yeah, I think he's gonna just executive produce now and not have a hand in it anymore. He's got other people because he's like all over the place. He's moving on to do some of the HBO Max shows like the new Green Lantern and other stuff like that.
I see that. That would exactly be what he would want to do because it's the more serious.
It's the more serious stuff. So he's moving on and leaving some of the CW stuff to other people. Yes, they've already cast Guy Gardner. Guy Gardner and somebody else, and everybody's like, well, then where's Jon Stewart? I don't know. I honestly am hoping that they're going to just pull him out.
I'm residually bitter because I kept track of the things you told me of the CW stuff enough that Diggle pops up in one of these shows, and I'm like, I know who that is.
Yes. So
you got me all excited.
That was my segue. So even though he's not been cast in the HBO show, the past couple of weeks, John Diggle, David Ramsey from the original Arrow show, has been guest.
He pops up everywhere.
He's been guest directing and appearing in all 5 of the major shows.
Yes.
Which has been kind of nice. And they only just vaguely, if y'all had saw the ending of the Arrow series, it shows a mysterious meteorite falling into Diggle's yard, and it's got the green energy, and they kind of imply that he's going to be Jon Stewart. They actually even do go back and a couple of times along the series, confirm that he is the Arrowverse's version of Jon Stewart. He just didn't take his stepfather's name. So Diggle's is his mother's name not his stepfather's name. But anyway, so he does show up, and they kind of talk about it, but we still don't get any real confirmation. That's very frustrating.
Yeah.
But he really did have a good job. And today we're going to be talking about the Supers. Supergirl is in her final season. And I think I've watched more of these than you guys have. So it seems like I'm dominating the conversation this time around.
Of the 3, I have only watched Superman and Lois.
Superman
and Lois has been interesting.
Supergirl is finishing up its final season. I'm not as happy with Supergirl.
I have to say, on Supergirl, the longer it's gone on, the less I've liked it. Because at the very beginning, it was very hopeful. It was very
useful, and
it
just keeps getting darker. And the same thing with the Flash.
It wasn't so much dark. It wasn't so much dreary for Supergirl. The problem that my husband Bo and I had with it is that she goes from being, like you said, a more positive influence kind of character.
Yeah.
Whoever was writing it got confused, and in their brain, they took determined girl power and just made her a bully. She's
just super aggressive.
She's super aggressive, and she's pushy, and it's like everybody, and like she knows better than everybody, and she's like, going to do what she wants to, and everybody needs to listen, and it just gets to where she's very much a bully in it, and it's very frustrating to watch.
I mean, especially that first season, she was very shy, and she was very she wanted to please people, and. She was more thoughtful of other people.
Yeah.
and she's lost that along the way.
Well, I think the CW shows in general, if you watch any of the superhero CW shows in general, the majority of them, it's not the main characters that make them interesting after the third or fourth
agreed.
season. Like,
Oh, no.
I mean, the reason I think that Legends of Tomorrow, and it's the one that we're not going to review because it's harder to put into a box, but it has the freedom to go out and get more different kinds of characters and stuff like that. And I think the reason that I kept interested in Supergirl is I like the character of Dreamer. I like their interpretation of Brainiac 5. I'm not too into the Martian Manhunter Miss Martian relationship because, like, for me in the comics, I like the uncle Martian better than like the boyfriend Martian. It doesn't work for me, but it is.
And
okay.
I really liked Melissa, especially at the very beginning. The actress who played Supergirl. Also, I really liked I forgot her name, but Cat Grant.
Oh my gosh!
I loved a lot of the dynamics that first season, and they just, especially once they moved over to the CW, they lost a lot of that.
And a lot of it too had to do with location and production and stuff, but it did have some highlights into it. I'm looking forward to the final episode. I know they're going to be bringing a lot of people back. They're going to be bringing back Mon-El is going to be back, and Toyman, Winslow from the first few seasons, Winslow's going to be coming back. I don't see anything with Mikaad Brooks at all, which kind of makes me sad. I think that's one of my biggest complaints about Superman and Lois is that they did this amazing job of setting up Mikaad Brooks as James Olsen, and like at first I was like, I don't know how this is going to work. I didn't have any problems with him being black. It was the fact that he just seemed too old to be Jimmy Olsen to me. Yeah. Like, here he is, this, like, world-weary Jimmy Olsen. I'm like, aren't you now the same age as Superman?
I've noticed they don't know what to do with Jimmy Olsen. For some reason, like, every depiction of Jimmy Olsen I've seen in the last, 10 years has been very confused.
Yeah, and it gets even more confusing because, the current season, it's his sister who is taking his place after they wrote him off the show because he, went on to do Mortal Kombat. He's Jax in Mortal Kombat.
Oh!
Yeah, and he's jacked up too.
They have him as
yeah, and he's huge in it. But
he's a big bro.
He got really big compared to it. But so his sister is dating Supergirl's sister Alex, and so they made some of her stuff was that. But I mean, as trite as certain coming out stuff is on TV, it's like I'm one of those old gays that's old enough to know when it just wasn't a thing, and now it's just like
back in my day
when you had Ellen's kiss, it just gets old after a while. They just kind of I don't want the drama, just be, and it's fine.
Which also just to tell you, there's gonna be spoilers. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah,
there's stuff I have to talk about.
But that does lead over into Superman and Lois. The biggest confusing thing about Superman and Lois is that I liked Tyler Hoechlin from the beginning.
Yeah.
When they had him on, when they first had him on Supergirl.
You know what? He's growing on me.
He made a decent Superman. Okay, he made a great Clark Kent. From the very first scene.
He's a fantastic Clark Kent.
From the very first scene, I'm like, when they announced him, I'm like, we just watched we watched all of Teen Wolf several times, and I'm like, I don't see him as Superman, but as soon as he got on the screen and he was doing his Clark Kent, I'm like, this is my favorite Clark Kent. I love this Clark Kent.
I think the problem I was having with him initially is I'm so used to these generally buff dudes playing Superman that I was like, when you line him up next to Henry Cavill, somebody like that, you're like, he's a little scrawny. But the fact that he makes such a good Clark Kent, the more I got into it, the more I'm like, yeah, I can dig this. I'm into him.
Yeah, I thought he did a great job. I'm really enjoying a lot of aspects of the Superman and Lois show. I like that they went back to Smallville, and Lois is still the hard-hitting reporter.
Oh my god, and
Bitsy
Tulloch, from one of my favorite shows of all time, Grimm, and she was on Grimm, if you ever watched that show, and she's so amazing. And she is the best. I finally caught up with a couple yesterday or this morning. I think saw the most recent episode, and I'm like, she is just the best Lois Lane.
She's so good.
I loved Erica Durance as Lois Lane from Smallville. Up until now, Erica Durance is my favorite, but Bitsy Tulloch, she's like really put it. And I love that they allow the show to do something, and we've talked about that a lot here on the Red Web, is that creators are afraid to let characters grow and expand beyond a certain pool. It's like, I swear, I'm just so tired of high school Spider-Man. Like, if they do not let, Tom Holland do a college age, at least Spider-Man story before they release him from his contract, I'm going to lose it. Like, I want adult stories with Spider-Man, because that's like what I grew up reading. Those are some of the best stories. And
We're missing out on amazing stories.
The cartoons are crap. When they try to take these really cool storylines that happen that only really work because Spider-Man is an adult, and they make them, in high school, it's trash. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. It's trash. It's trash sold for children. I'm tired of teenage Spider-Man.
It's schlock, guys.
It's just schlock. Superman and Lois, it's really good because they actually are not afraid to go, let's go to a different stage in their life. Let's do something different. Let's make them a family.
Right.
And I love this show. I have to recommend this to everybody. If you want to see a superhero show that's still got superhero stuff.
It's really good.
It's got decent effects. It's got, the big bad. I will let you make your own determination on that one.
Yeah.
Whatever. But, I love that they
But where the show is at is the family dynamic.
It's a family dynamics. And
it's the kids trying to fit into this rural setting after being in the city all this time.
Well, and then also accepting the fact that they learned that their dad is Superman.
Yeah, but I mean, like the guy who was the jock back in Metropolis, he was like the ace of the football team.
Right.
He's having a hard time fitting in this football team. He's still on the bench.
And then the twin brothers, one of them is like the jock and he's popular, and one of them is, of course, the like emo loner. And they kind of assume that the popular active jock is going to be the one who gets powers, and it's not. It's the emo one. And
it's the moody teenage kid.
And the moody teenage kid, and when you think about it, that's actually more of what Clark was. He was more like that. He wasn't the jock and everything, And I love that they could have easily made this a point of contention. Drama, have the brothers fight and hate each other, be jealous of each other, whatever. It's amazing that they can still write drama and tension, but have the brothers care about each other.
Yeah.
They're sticking up for each other.
I mean, I love that. I love that. One of the episodes I just watched, it's like, he's wanting the brother off the football teams because that's his thing.
Right.
That was always his thing. And his brother's taking that over. He's as he's leaving his brother's room, he's seeing a text from somebody saying, hey, we need to talk about this, pattern and all this kind of stuff. And they're really excited about him being on it. And he's like, you know what? He's never had any friends. He's starting to get friends here. So he goes to his father, Superman, Clark Kent, and he says, look, I can't believe I'm doing this, but you really kind of need to let him stay on the football team.
Right.
Because he's actually making friends.
This is good for my brother. He loves his brother. He wants his brother to flourish.
Yeah, it's so easy to turn. It's like, and there are moody moments. They literally break this poor boy enough that he finally is just like, whatever, man. He has his snapping points, but it's like.
But I love it when they start to do the.
They could make them despise each other.
They could have made them despise each other. But I love that. Again, Elizabeth Tulloch is just such a great Lois Lane. She's like she talks to him and she's like, it's hard to be an extraordinary person in a family with super people. And then and then he realizes, he's like, no, I'm not like my dad. I'm not super, but you know what?
He comes
Superman isn't the only awesome parent I have. He realizes his mom is Lois Lane, and he starts, and it's really a cute dynamic because then you get the brothers, and then he ends up basically being the Lois to his brother's Clark, and it's just really
so cute.
It's well thought out. It's well thought out, and like I said, some of the you got your standard superhero fare, and there's some cheese in there.
Also, some of the things I love is that there are issues that come up that you never would have thought of. Like, for example, there's a moment that I was like going, "Oh my goodness!" Clark Kent's over there working on the tractor, and he can hear everything on the planet. So he decides, hey, I want to check up on my sons. So he starts listening for his sons. And there's a little conflict about to go down.
And
he drops it. And he goes to the high school and he walks up before it becomes fisticuffs. he goes, "Hey, I haven't been here since I was, and he's like
Right.
acting like he just came to check it out."
And then the sons are like, "Are you listening to us like all the time?"
Yeah, right. And so it
Yeah.
becomes this big thing of contention.
Yeah,
it's
it
like-
should be. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like, you're spying on us the whole time. We were taking care of it.
Yeah,
And,
so of all of the CW shows
Yeah.
going on
That's
right now, this one actually might save it to continue on because
And they acknowledge my boy.
oh
got
my gosh,
Steel.
yes, we got the
Steel's
coolest.
finally here.
He's finally here, and yes, okay, they did darken him up a little bit, which I kind of have a problem with because
And the thing they picked was silly.
It
The
was
reason
kinda
they picked
silly.
him to show up was silly.
and it's like I was telling you when we were talking about it before, because I grew up when I was younger when Steel came out, like the only really depictions of the strong heroic black people you had were the world weary ones or the gentle giants or the wizened kind of like black characters.
Right.
So when you read Steel in the comic book, that's how you see him, or I saw him, because that's what I had in media, such a limited scope of his presence. So seeing this version of him is kind of like, that's not how I saw Steel, but I can totally see him that way now.
Right.
It's
Well, because they picked a silly way. Like, to be fair, they decided it's like the short answer of why he's here is during Flashpoint he trips into the wrong universe.
And I'm going to say this really quick because
Is
Flash
it-
is on
yeah.
here. We were talking about Flash. I'm so tired of Flashpoint.
Oh
my God! How many times are they going to rehash Flashpoint? We've got it on the
At least one
CW.
more.
We've got it in the DCU
At least
online
one
game.
more
We've
into
got it,
movie.
and then now we're getting a movie version of it. I'm just like,
They,
I'm
well,
done
they keep
with
a-
Flashpoint.
All right,
is
so-
it confirmed? Have they just decided that Flashpoint's going to be another?
Oh yeah, it's totally.
No,
yeah, it's
I
confirmed.
don't want it.
So look, to finish up with our CW part one, do you want to? Well, you know what? We're going to do Flash tomorrow because there's too much.
Okay. Well,
So,
you guys check us out tomorrow, and
And
have
we'll
fun.
come back to you with
Have-
CW review part 2.
Right, and remember to follow us on Facebook. You can also follow Kaiju Labs Media, our parent company, and also you can watch the episodes on www.bradsredweb.com. That is where you can go to find our past episodes and where we're going to be airing stuff, and you can find links to go and find where we're airing every day now.
Every day, every
Every
weekday.
weekday.
Every
Every
weekday.
weekday.
So
So,
you guys
share us
take care.
and do that, and we'll see you tomorrow.
All right, bye-bye.